I'm so happy to have you here. You're coming up on 8 months in your new position. It feels like yesterday.
It honestly does feel like yesterday, but then it feels like 5 years at the same time. A lot of things have happened in the last 8 months.
It's been an exciting 8 months for you, really.
It has. It really has.
So can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your history in automotive? And you also spent some time on the agency side, right?
Yes, I started when I was 12, just so y'all know. Back then it was legal to work at 12. I started at a little agency called Saatchi & Saatchi LA, and I worked on a little brand called Toyota. And for those of you back in the olden days, Saatchi was located in the Sears parking lot. So it was really super fun there at the parking lot next to the mall. Anyway, so I spent about 18 years there, give or take. Working on launching Tundra, pulled a space shuttle, launched a thing called Prius. Tried to explain hybrid to people back in the day. It was very confused. I couldn't even explain it to my mom. I go, it goes, but it doesn't go. You put gas, but it doesn't go. How does it work? So that was very confusing at that time. And then from there, I ended up running the Hyundai Motor America business from Enotion. So this is a reunion today. I swear the people in the room, I've either met you, worked with you, sat next to you, were on a flight with you or something. It truly is a reunion. And then after that, I did a little stint at a little agency called Pitch in Culver City, and that got sold. And then I went to consult at Kia. And I was like, wow, I'm going to try this client side thing, see how that works out for me, and spent 3 years there, and then got recruited, and I'm now in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. I'm telling you, if you have not been to Nashville, you should come on down. It is the best place. There's like something called honky tonks. I didn't even know what those were. And Hattie B's. The best chicken ever.
The best chicken.
Ever.
Really the best chicken. MediaPost actually has conferences in Tennessee, so we'll be inviting you to come and hang out with us there. We went axe throwing a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I think we're doing that for our holiday party. Someone's working on that. I'm not quite sure, but
I highly recommend axes and alcohol. It's a really good
I feel like that. Yeah, I told the team, is this a dangerous sport? They're like, no, it's pretty safe. I'm like, okay, we'll see how it goes on the Christmas party. Yeah. I'll let you guys know in January.
They do make you sign a waiver, so there's that. So how has it been going since you came to this is a new company for you? Have you made any big changes since coming on board, and what do you have planned, and how's it going with dealers? Because that's always the big question.
You know, it's interesting. I worked with a dealer body for the 27 years of my career, and it's really great to start building those relationships. We have a subcommittee that we share our marketing plans and talk to them about. I mean, as we all know, this is really the year of retail coming back. Inventory's coming back, retail's back. So how do you balance brand and retail? And that's what we've been doing. We've been looking at what is our message across the customer journey and how we're connecting with customers. On a tier 1 level, are we connecting them through culture, like Heisman, for example? And tier 2, are we really talking about the features and benefits of our products, as well as obviously sales events, which is, telling people the great offers that we have. So we really have to look at it holistically as we have this sort of switch in what's happening in the automotive industry right now.
So Heisman, you mentioned Heisman. I know you were fresh off of the Heisman House activation, which every year cracks me up. And we're going to watch a spot before we talk about it. So Jeff, could you go ahead and cue the first spot, please? Turn it up loud.
Yeah, this is awesome, you guys.
It never bothered me that Michigan didn't have a mascot. But after living in this house for so long, you start to feel a little different.
Oh, this is gonna be so fun.
It's like a special bond, player and mascot. So I thought I'd give it a try. And that's when I learned why the Michigan Wolverines don't have a mascot.
Thank you. No one was hurt during the filming of that commercial, so just to let you know, no one was hurt.
How did they handle that? Because, the Ohio State-Michigan thing, I'm from Michigan. I'm a Michigan Stater, so I try to stay out of it. But there is some serious, rivalry. So how did they handle the filming of that? Were they cool?
They all were cool. Everyone really loved each other. I mean, they're all in the same boat, They loved college ball. I mean, I'm a Roll Tider, so I'm all about Roll Tide and Bama. But it was really great because they were all in a room together, and they all have that special bond of football. And so even though you may get on the field and you have to beat your team, together it was just an awesome experience, and you're going to come next filming.
I am so excited. I'm going to get to go to Heisman House.
And I cannot tell you where it is. It's a big secret, so.
I'm not going to tell you either. So you also added Zillow this year, so that was brand new. You managed to make what's been a long-standing activation new with Zillow. So how did that work out?
So the biggest thing is, what is the insight? So the insight was, people want to know where the Heisman House is. Is it real? Does it exist? And that was the insight. So we're like, okay, let's give people a sneak peek. And where do we all go to look at homes? Like every day I'm looking at something going, oh, look, my son, he's there, he found it.
He found it.
He's a good-looking boy waving. He missed when I said roll tide 4 times, but he found it. This is good news. So we did Zillow this year based on that insight. So we're able to give consumers a look at the Heisman House. The Heisman House is real. It is awesome. I spent a lot of time there with the team, and now we wanted to share that with everyone. So the Heisman House is real, and more is coming.
Really?
More is coming.
Cool.
So on November 25th, on the biggest football day where Alabama will beat Auburn, roll tide, and I'm torn between Michigan and Ohio State. Ohio State people in here, but we'll see how that all works out. So during that weekend, we're going to have 2 of our Heisman surprise some people with some Uber Eats.
That is very cool.
So we're definitely going to have that. So that'll be something that we are working on. And RG3, awesome. Tim Tebow are going to be the gentleman surprising some fans.
Very cool. So you had another interesting football tie-in this year. You sponsored a documentary about football player Bryce Young. So I think let's go ahead and watch the spot, and then we can talk about what inspired it.
Oh, man, the way Bryce is able to cover the whole field is incredible.
Yeah, he's really spreading it around.
You guys could help, you know.
Just doing our jobs, Bryce. Just doing our jobs.
Yeah, we're working too.
He's such a good sport.
He's such a great sport. And it had nothing to do, just so you know, this was all in motion, and Allison, who's our global CMO, started this documentary with Bryce Young. Little did she know, I'm a huge Alabama fan and just love Bryce and all the things he did. And he is such a humble person. I got to spend time with his father while I was at the shoot, and really highlighting his career and his journey and the ability for him to get compensated now for all the things that he's done. If you think about in the past, there were so many great college football athletes that have $0 to their name and all the things that they did because we weren't able to compensate them fairly. So I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of the documentary and excited to support, obviously, our athletes.
Well, that's a way to speak to younger consumers, right? Which is always important. What else are you guys doing to reach younger consumers?
We're doing a lot of different things. I mean, we're really looking at our brand audience and making sure that we're engaging the right audience, especially the younger buyers. We're also making sure that we are connecting through culture and culture moments. And Heisman is a great example of the culture moments. We also, obviously do March Madness. It's another great example. So how are we able to be in these conversations? And we have some exciting things planned for 2024, which I can't talk about, but I'm very excited, and you'll be the first to know.
I was going to say 2024 is like
it's around the corner.
Tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
coming quickly. So I talked in my opening about educating about EVs and technology, and I think Nissan has always been kind of ahead of the curve on that. What do you have going on with that right now?
We're looking at all kinds of different things for our EVs. Again, like I talked about Prius in the old days, it was really hard to understand what a hybrid was. Range anxiety is real. How does the EV work? Where do I charge? How do I maintain this? What about the battery life? There's so many questions, and I think there's a place for all that. For us right now, we have something where once a consumer buys the Aria, we have a technician that comes back and that shares with them and educates them further on the vehicle. We have a lot of education on our website and other places. But I think as a community, we need to continue to educate people on EVs so they really understand the technology and the benefits of the product.
And it has to be a collective process,
Oh, it's
right?
everyone. It's everyone. It isn't just Nissan. It's all the OEMs really need to do that because this isn't just a Nissan thing, it is a society thing. And how do we end up transitioning from ICE vehicles to EV vehicles, hybrids, and so forth?
What are you driving right now, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh my God, I have this kick-ass Pathfinder. I just love it. It is so good. I could fit the whole family. We have a lot of guests in my house. Fit the whole family in. And then sometimes I get really crazy and I take the Z out. And it's a yellow Z. And it's pretty fantastic. I was driving down PCH, and people were high-fiving me, giving me thumbs up, and I was like, I'm the coolest person ever. I'm in the Z. I wanted to, like, throw my business card out the window. I'm like, if you want to buy one, I've got a dealer for you. It's freaking awesome. I also let a couple of my relatives drive the Z, and the GTR. Some ducks were injured in the GTR incident, but we will not talk about that. They were fine. They were okay.
Well, the Z is so iconic. I mean, that's just a vehicle everybody loves forever, right?
They do. And one thing about the Z is it brings back that feeling of freedom and thrill. And when we talk about the Nissan brand, what we mean by thrill is the feeling you have in that vehicle, whether you're talking about the Aria or the Rogue or the Pathfinder, it's really that exhilaration that you feel and how it really enables your life. When I'm in my Pathfinder and I drive my Pathfinder in Nashville, and it just feels so awesome. I can't even explain it to you. Just the feeling in that vehicle, the power of the vehicle, the agility of the vehicle, and I love that it has any kind of inclement weather, because I'm from California, so we don't know how to drive in the rain. So now I have all these things in my vehicle to make sure that I'm okay in rain, snow, all kinds of things.
Well, wait for winter. Winter is coming.
Oh my God, I didn't even know what winter is. I thought yesterday was winter. I was like, I had to put on like boots. It was crazy.
I love you, California people. You're just adorable. I'm from
I
Detroit.
know, aren't we cute?
So,
but now I'm from Nashville. I got my Tennessee driver's license.
Oh, so you're legit now.
I'm legit now, and I bought a little home.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So I know you're talking a little bit about 2024 sneak previews. Any thoughts about the Super Bowl?
Oh, the Super Bowl's the day before my birthday, I think, or the day after my birthday, one around my birthday. So it's a really big time for us. Super Bowl is interesting. There are moments where you want to be in Super Bowl, moments when you don't. And I can't really say any more about that. Maybe we'll do Super Bowl a little differently this year or not. Again, can't talk about that.
Well, that vagueness is actually good. You didn't say no.
I didn't say anything, which is great.
So, to wrap things up, and please start thinking about your questions because we're going to have a few minutes left. What advice would you have for someone in the trenches at a lower level OEM marketing job or at an agency? Do you think it has gotten any easier for a woman in this business in your experience?
My goodness. Yes and no. I think there's a lot of women that have paved the way for other women. And we just came back from the Rainbow Push Coalition Summit that we were in Detroit yesterday. I just flew in from that. And we were talking about not only women, but we're talking about also all of the multicultural community. And we were really able, from a marketing perspective, to move into the green, which is a great accomplishment for us because we're really pushing forward as an industry and as a company. For women, I think it's still hard. I think it's still hard for people. In the last 8 years, there were times when people said, you can't work on that, you can't do that, and you can't have that opportunity because you're a woman. And it wasn't said, but it was implied. And I think our jobs as a society is to make sure that we recognize all individuals and that we are continuing to push forward for all those communities that are underrepresented. So I think that's really important. And for all the women out there, I truly believe, and I'm not saying this from Versace, I promise, because it was their motto, nothing is impossible. I came here as a 3-year-old immigrant, and I'm now on stage having this conversation. So nothing is impossible, and there are great people that will help you and give you a hand up.
I think we actually have a teaser for the Uber Eats.
Ooh, I think we do.
We've got something we can
see
just
what that is.
show. And then, look at that.
Look at these handsome gentlemen here.
So can you tell us any more about how that's going to work?
I can't really say any more. No, I can't. So basically what's going to happen is RG3 and Tim Tebow are going to surprise you at your home with some Uber Eats. So you're thinking you're just getting your normal Uber Eat delivery, and guess what? It's not. I would love for them to deliver something to my house, I'm telling you.
gosh.
They're very handsome men, but they're also awesome. So they're part of our Uber Eats program, and that's going to debut when Alabama beats Auburn. So keep an eye out for that. And if they don't beat Auburn, I'm going to cry. I'll be crying somewhere. I'll be crying. I'll be Baton Rouge with my daughter crying. So
Oh, any final thoughts before we let the audience ask
no,
you
let's
stuff?
open it up for
Okay,
questions.
cool. Who's got a question? Is Lisa?
Anyone have any questions?
Yep, Lisa's got a microphone.
Oh, I think I saw her hand there. I actually am curious, though, if you, in terms of when you talk about like the Heisman House and all the different, cultural moments, how do you thread that into the rest of the year? How do you, I mean, these are huge activations that obviously generate a lot of buzz, but then how much does then to continue it and be a part of your strategy as you go into next year?
Well, to me, marketing is like a giant puzzle. And that's the part I really love. It's like you have all these pieces on how do they work together. And I think you have to kind of approach it, you have to approach it from an objective perspective. What are you trying to do? One of our big pushes this year, and we've done traditionally, is our Hispanic audience. And we're really ramping up that effort and making sure we connect with that very important audience. And so that's one of the layers. So you have to think of it as a layered cake. Right? There's all these different things that make up your brand, and how do you really build that? I guess I watch a lot of, Cake Boss and other things, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that makes sense, and you can't look at it as one and done.
No,
you
it's not.
have to really be authentic, or otherwise consumers today are savvy. They're going to know that you're just taking advantage of a specific time or moment.
Of course, and it has to be true to your brand and connect with your brand. It can't be a random thing that has nothing to do with your brand. It has to be something that is truly connected with the DNA of your brand. And what is more thrilling than college sports? Not much.
Lisa, I see a hand over here.
Hi, my name is Fran Richards from Core Software. Question, I noticed that Nissan's been pretty active in Japan in motorsports, but not much here on the state side. Is that something that you guys might be using to reach younger people?
Yeah, it's interesting. We've talked a lot about it, and it's really, motorsports here is dominated by Toyota, really. And so for us, we need to look at the right area for our audiences, and we feel that college sports is that right area. It doesn't mean that we're not going to look at that. We always look at new opportunities all the time on a daily basis, but we really need to be very strategic, and we need to be very focused. And so when we talk about building that cake, you can't have a little drizzle here. You have to really make sure you have enough layers to build that cake and make sure it's sturdy.
You guys were involved in Formula E a couple of years ago. I got to see it in Brooklyn. It was very cool.
Yeah, we are. We do a little bit. It's not really a big effort. We're just dabbling. And you'll see a lot of times from brands that we dabble in different areas until we decide whether or not something we want to really push forward in.
Formula E is very cool. If you've never been to a Formula E race, it's eerie. These really, really fast cars.
And the sounds. It is the first time I got into an EV and I was like, is it on? How do I turn it off? Is it off?
Do we have any other questions?
Hi, Selena Adcock on the Uber team. Very excited to actually be partnering with you in our ads new business. Would love to hear a little bit of how you think about new channels and reaching the younger audience.
Oh my gosh, we're always experimenting on all the channels. I mean, we have to, and we have to really see which channel works. I mean, let's take TikTok. I mean, I had no idea what TikTok was until my children told me about it. I was like, what is this thing? It's TikTok. How do I get on it? What do I do? And I think that was a channel we didn't all see coming. And so for us as a brand, one of our things that we want to do, and we challenge our agency team all the time, is what's new and let's experiment. Because as a brand, you have to experiment with all the channels and see how it works for you. And then make sure you test and learn as we move forward.
Anyone else? Oh.
Hey, Marisstella. Question on Les Harrison with Outfront. Good to see you again. You touched a little bit on NIL, and I think it would be interesting to hear how you all are approaching those amateur athletes in the collegiate level and stuff like that. outside of Heisman House to, bring the brand together, have that hometown hero effect, and that kind of emerging category?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're looking at it holistically through the whole year and what makes sense for us. And as we get into March Madness, that's one of the things that we're looking at. We're looking at what are those athletes that will make sense for us to partner with as we build the campaign. So it's really specific to what we're working on and how we want to put that together. And it makes my heart feel so happy because we're able actually to support these athletes in a new way that we haven't done before.
I actually want to ask, oh, Tanya, you're talking?
No,
okay.
go ahead.
No, I just was curious because you talked about the feeling you have driving the Z, and the Pathfinder. And how much of that, and when you're dealing with all the different channels, obviously they each have a personality, like the TikTok or Meta, but how much is the creative now about feeling and really, because consumers today are really, their expectations have changed, and they're very much about wanting to align with a brand. So how much of that is about feeling more so than, as you said, maybe teaching them, you have to teach them about the EV, but also you need to capture that feeling from them?
Well, as you all know, marketing is very complicated because it's really not. But if you touch somebody or if you do something that is interesting, that really is the goal. But you have to do it in a brand authentic way. We have a brand platform, which is the Thrill platform. So everything we do is from that. And we bring the products to life. And we have to use the channel as the channel is. You have to make sure you are looking at that audience and how that channel is used. And that's why creators are also a great way to go, because they have their style. They're very successful on the channel. They know what they're doing. They know their audience. And how do you tap into that creator body to be able to really connect with people as a brand? Again, it all has to go down and to be authentic to the brand and authentic to the channel.
So do you need to give the creators, because that's a great point, I mean, they need to be authentic, they have their own personalities, but are there necessary parameters that you can't just let them run wild?
Well, we can't. I mean, there's brand safety always that you have to be cognizant of, and you tell them what your brand is about. And 99.9% of the time, they will deliver because they understand. They know your brand, they understand your brand, they love your brand. I mean, we had a conversation with someone that's a creator, and we asked him about Nissan, and he said one word: dope. That's the word for 2024, dope. And I was like, he knows our brand. He's got it. He understands thrill, and we made some really great content.
I think that's a great place to end it. Yeah. Dope. All right.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you
coming
so
up.
much. Thank you for having